Day to everybody. We're going to talk about several different topics. There's a lot to cover, so we'll try and cover it. All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God always comes first. Quick tidbit: evil and negative things that you may do or may be done to you, they don't progress things forward in a positive way. Therefore, they don't matter. Let me say it again. If you've done negative or bad things, or you have those things done to you, don't let those things keep you down. What will go through what will make it through all time? What will be remembered are the contributions to society, the positive things that you do. That's what endures. It's the good things you're able to offer to society and the community. That's what people remember you for. They don't remember you for the negative and bad things that happen to you or the negative and bad things that you've done. If you've done negative and bad things, repent of it. That means purpose in your heart not to do it again. Those you've done it to, ask them for forgiveness and move on. Let's talk about the stream, but it's brought to you by LIVE products. LIVE, live now. We're live now. In terms of lines of drinks, we've just added some punches to it. I'll show you the punches in a minute. But the flavors we have available, if you're in the Trinidad and Tobago area, available is sour and orange, fruit punch, grapefruit, Morby, lime, and lemon. I don't have the lemon right now. I have still limited amounts of lime right now. We also have, which is not mentioned here, also we have punches. The punches are, you have the flavors peanut punch right now and pumpkin punch are available. But we also have, I'm going to come with soursop, dasheen punch, beetroot punch, and possibly carrot punch and some other punches. So look out for it. LIVE products. We're live now. We also have cleaning products in the LIVE line. We have disinfectant, liquid detergent, fabric softener, and dish washing liquid. LIVE, live now. We're live now. And just to show you the punches, here they are. In this case, I had to label them on top because I didn't have labels. But the peanut punch is this one on the right here. And on the left is the pumpkin punch. And you can see bits and pieces of pumpkin in there. There they are again. So LIVE products, enjoy them while you can have them. All right, we're going to get into so many different things. It's not funny. So let's start with Restore the Snyderverse. Let's start with that. So it's a lovely, if you shall, Steppenwolf here. On Twitter, the gun fans are in full, they're in full flare in Twitter. Go up in Twitter there. Gonna go to my bookmarks, some things I've covered. Now, some of this I won't be able to go with you on, but let's just start off with this. So, Sickness Day, we really had something special. There have been a series of since the gun trailer of Superman came out, been a series of tweets and actually trending. I don't know if it's trending right now. I can always go and check. But we had Superman trending. We had Henry Cavill trending. We had for a minute, we had Restore the Snyderverse trending. So a lot of these things were trending on social media. Now, for some reason, a lie came out there that the trailer for James Gunn's Superman had the highest amount of views on it. That's not true. There's no trailer that's like that on YouTube, on Twitter, or anywhere else. So that's just a big old fat lie. Spin that of course, media is trying to get people to believe that people are excited about Gunn's Superman. They're not. A lot of people actually didn't like it. They think it's goofy. They think it's, the colors, it's just too much colors. Then they find out that the guy who also was involved with The Flash was involved with this movie. Everything looks cheap. Some people compare it to the Disney TV shows. Some people compared it to the CW. They say CW actually looks better. I'm not going to go into that trailer too much, but just to say, because of that, there was a pushback by these, I'll call them gunts for now, the same people who supported Blue Beetle and had the Blue Beetle army, and the same people who supported, the Flash and so on, Shazam. So they're the same people circulating around. And a lot of them work in the industry. A lot of them are the execs or people who work in the industry who are these people who have always hated Zack Snyder and always hated his movies. They're always vocal on social media, but it never translates into um, an actual um, manifestation of success for the movies. Okay, it's never. And they're trying to divide the Snyder fandom. They've been trying it for the longest while, but they can't. And we just keep getting more and more evidence of how big the Snyder fandom is, how many people actually like Zack Snyder, how many are his fans, and why. Obviously, clearly, Warner Bros. Is not providing the entertainment that most people who watch DC want to see. I mean, all Warner Bros. Has to do, even if they don't want to restore the Snyderverse, was provide entertainment that DC fans would like. Okay, and they've only hit the ball out the park once, and that was with Joker, which they didn't want to put out. But every single DC fan out there was like, "Hey, I could dig this movie." And Todd Phillips didn't even follow the traditional Joker lines. But the fact that DC is known for more serious topics and much more deeper delving into issues, this is what makes DC DC, whereas Marvel's more superficial. They don't go that deep. They don't make social commentary necessarily on society. That's more DC. Um, and usually DC comes with some sort of original concept or model. And Marvel's not really known for that. The MCU's not really known for that. They give you this populist, sort of general pop conflict, no real deep delving into anything. They're very superficial with everything. Whether you guys think Civil War was great or what was the other one? Um, um, Whatever it was, with the villain's name. Oh, that's terrible. I really don't follow Marvel. That's why. Um, the guy who's kind of side, whatever his name is, they said, that's so deep. Oh, look how deep they were. No, it wasn't deep at all. In fact, it wasn't well thought out at all either. I forgot whatever the dude's name is. So anyway, um, we are therefore, yeah, that stuff was trending. Okay. Center House says, does anybody else see what's going on here? Yeah, Gunn always has these weird looking, funny looking things that's villainous monsters, and they always look goofy and stupid. In fact, this goofy, stupid looking villainous monster, people, I just don't understand these hypocritical people. They talk about how Doomsday looked like a Ninja Turtle or like one of those Lord of the Rings bogs or whatever they call them. What the hell is that? You know what I mean? It's supposed to be a fire breathing dragon, I guess. That thing looks terrible. And then Gunn's big villain was Starro, which again, bloody time. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how. Hold on a second. 1 second, people. I'm being interrupted. Okay. I will get back to you very soon, man. So I'll get back to her. It's someone who I should be answering, but I just can't right now. Because I'm streaming, obviously. Does anybody else see what's going on here? Yeah, I mean, come on now. James Gunn, I mean, I don't know what they're trying to do, but oh my God. The replacement for Henry Cavill is just such a not a win. It's a loss, and it's sad. I gotta be honest with you. It's sad to see that. Let's go into some more here. Bradley Osborne says, a hot take, but a lot of you say you hate this Superman because he was directed by Zack Snyder. Like, really? It's not this version of Superman that a lot of you actually hate. It's the fact that this version was made by Zack Snyder and you guys hate every single thing he did. And yes, the people that hating on David Cornus' Superman because it's made by James Gunn are just as bad. And they are in the wrong as well. Yep. Think about it is Bradley Osborne. That Superman that James Gunn has, it just rubs everybody the wrong way. The trunks, the loose fitting suit, the fact that the hypocrisy that the haters of Zack Snyder talked about how it was emo Superman, and now we are meeting an emo Superman, a real emo Superman, a Superman who's kind of down and out emotionally, tries to help other people, but he's more down and out, and he ain't smiling. In fact, we didn't see him smile at all. And these same hypocrites are now embracing that. That's the hypocrisy is the weird thing. So do we have merits for it? Absolutely. We have one set of people who've been bad talking one director. And then now that another director rightfully is stealing ideas from that other director, just as Marvel stole ideas from Zack Snyder, who is the brainchild of a lot of ideas. You're stealing the ideas from the other director. You're making a Superman that's less than the Superman that came before. So we could have just kept Henry Cavill. Now we realize you just wanted to get the praise for things. And then on top of that, the story doesn't look that great. The suits look terrible. The actors look terrible. You're trying to mix eras. You're trying to mix Christopher Reeve with modern day time. We know what you're trying to do. And it's awful. It's an awful go at it. And the thing about it is, you would have thought that Warner Brothers by now would have, somebody would have beat some sense in their heads. That, look, we had 10 flops in DC. Most recent flop was Joker Part 2. Joker Part 2 was a flop. Okay, it was not like the first Joker movie because we were not supposed to have a second sequel to the first Joker movie. And Todd Phillips, for whatever you say, could not reproduce what he did with the first movie. Okay, DC is in the dumpsters. All we're getting is straight trash. Straight trash, continuously. Trash. Okay? James Gunn hasn't changed it. He hasn't changed anything for DC. We've been getting trash since Warner Brothers, their executives, have decided we're going in a Marvel direction. A new regime came to power, and instead of embracing the Snyderverse or embracing a serious take on superheroes, they doubled down and decided they're continuing in the vein of the regime that just got replaced. Hamada regime. Before that was Jeff Johns and John Berg. They were replaced. And why were they replaced? Because they were unsuccessful at pushing and marvelizing DC. Jeff Johns and John Berg were responsible for destroying DC because Zack Snyder's vision had nothing to do with Marvel. They were trying to be like Marvel. Their approach wasn't like Marvel. To this day, I hear stupid fans saying that, the universe, Zack Snyder was rushed and BVS shouldn't have come after Man of Steel. No, BVS was supposed to come after Man of Steel. That wasn't the problem. It flows very nicely into the BVS. And Zack Snyder's Justice League was to flow in after BVS, and it flowed in very nicely. And then it was supposed to be two others. That wasn't the problem. The problem was the greedy executives and the wicked executives and the sabotage of Zack Snyder's vision that had to be put to screen, chopping out 30 minutes of the movie. 30 minutes of the movie that were vital. It was BVS. They tampered with Zack Snyder's stuff. They didn't get to tamper with Man of Steel, but they got to tamper with Zack Snyder's BVS. And they got to tamper tremendously, even worse, with Zack Snyder's Justice League. They got to tamper with David Ayer's Suicide Squad. And they, in a limited way, got to tamper with Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman. They kept on tampering with these movies. The major reason was because they thought, the movies, they're too dark. We need to get them like Marvel. which was stupid. We had a color change from Suicide Squad go on. The color palette suddenly changed. We had brighter movies. Aquaman was changed tremendously. Tremendously. And the reason why the sequel did so bad was because people tolerated the first Aquaman. Aquaman has almost nothing in terms of content. A great action scene, but that's about it. Aquaman really doesn't, the story doesn't give you anything. There's no depth to Aquaman. There's a little depth to Wonder Woman, and there's a moral of the story there. But there's no depth to Aquaman. There's no depth to the Suicide Squad that we saw. The Suicide Squad. No depth whatsoever. And that's not how these movies were. Man of Steel has depth. BVS has depth. Zack Snyder's Justice League has depth. Wonder Woman has depth. But name another DC movie that has depth. None of the DC movies except for Joker, which has depth. None of the other DC movies, not even the Batman, has any depth. The Batman, you have to really fish for it because the Batman has been seen already. We've seen it, the Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy. It's a ripoff of the Dark Knight trilogy. Same characters and everything. When you look at this new upcoming Superman movie, it's a cheap ripoff of Man of Steel. Everything that James Gunn's talking about already has been covered in Man of Steel and BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Zack already covered all of that. Okay? The Superman and Lois is a ripoff of Man of Steel. And they say it. We're great fans of Man of Steel. The difference is the premise by it. That is to say, it's a family and it's a family movie and he's raising a family. It's like Superman raising a family. So that's the little spin on it, but it's a ripoff of Man of Steel. They're not bringing anything revolutionary. The only person who's brought something revolutionary to the table so far for DC, besides Todd Phillips, with his unique take on Joker, is Zack Snyder. It's not Zack Snyder's original idea. I mean, this was really the brainchild of David Goyer. Okay, Man of Steel is the brainchild really of David Goyer. But having said that, and Christopher Nolan, of course, assisting in the storytelling, but the point is Zack took that original idea and went with it. Okay, and that's what's amazing about this whole thing. You know, nobody else has contributed besides Christopher Nolan, who revolutionized, and Tim Burton, who revolutionized Batman. Tim Burton revolutionized Batman. Tim Burton's the first person to give a dark take on Batman with his movie Batman 1989. Then he took it another level with Batman Returns. And then they fired him. The next person to bring a revolutionary take on DC Comics and DC characters was Christopher Nolan. Okay? Brought something different. And then David Goyer, who worked with Christopher Nolan, had an original concept for Superman. And Zack Snyder was the director that brought that to life. So James Gunn's not going to bring nothing new to the table. Zack made us realize Superman was an alien. He wasn't one of us. And Zack brought to the table the fact of how difficult it would be if Superman was real. Just like how Christopher Nolan played with the idea, if Batman was real, what would he look like? What would the world be? Well, Zack, in a much more comic book accurate way, asked the question, well, if Superman was real, how would he act and how would it be? So that whole premise revolutionized the comic book industry. Made people have to step up their game, made Marvel have to step up its game, Kevin Feige. And they still had to sabotage and steal ideas from DC, courtesy of the snake, Jeff Johns, the asshole trying to sabotage Zack Snyder, because Jeff Johns knew Zack Snyder had something special. And this is why fans and the general audience want Zack Snyder back. It's because he comes with these original, authentic takes on things. That he has that pulse where he realizes the, as he calls it, the pop culture, the zeitgeist, The general person would like this. He's got his pulse on it. And what comes with his pop culture is current affairs, societal affairs, what is trending, what is popular. He has his pulse on that. That's what makes him so cool. Just like how comic book writers have a pulse on what's happening in the world today. Nowadays, it's like it's stupid how they try to do things. They force the narrative is forced too much. They're trying to force the world. They have these ideas of what they want the world to be, and then they force it on people, which is why this LGBTQ thing that's in comic books now is we can tell it's somebody pushing in Hollywood this agenda. It feels like an agenda instead of a reflection of what's happening in the world. That's the difference between an artist and somebody who has an agenda. Okay? They killed Stanley Kubrick. It seems apparently they killed Stanley Kubrick. That trailer does the impossible. It will force you to feel hope. Are you feeling the well, there's a lot of mockery over this. Do you know how crazy it is that the CW Superman looks better than the actual big budget movie? No doubt about that. It's refreshing to see superheroes actually saving people, not being involved in militaristic, political, or galactic whatever, and caring about people. And of course, KG Crossover is laughing about that because basically Superman was saving people throughout Man of Steel. And there was a portion of BVS where it's just a montage of him saving people from different lands and different countries. In fact, in the beginning of the movie, in the African scene, Superman does something that's really interesting. Really, really interesting. Literally pulled from The Dark Knight Returns. Superman ran through a missile and The Dark Knight Returns, it's a manned plane, and of course, he kills the pilot in The Dark Knight Returns. See, a lot of people don't read comics, okay? So they will know about this. They've heard about The Dark Knight Returns, but a lot of them, there's guys on Twitter, they come in and say, read a comic. And I'm like, Ninja, you ain't read shit. If you had read shit, stuff comes from the comics. But see, a lot of them don't read comics, so it does make a difference. Let me show you guys some more stuff. They were talking about Rebel Moon. I'm not going to talk about that. The reason why I am not supporting Netflix anymore is because they have banned the Palestinian stories that were played on Netflix. They've actually removed them, some 24 stories. So I'm not supporting Netflix until they reverse that decision. The Palestinian story must be told. And if you don't want to tell it on your service because of some fucking Zionist, then I'm just not going to watch your service. And that's that. Whoever says Man of Steel is not a good movie just doesn't know what a good movie is. He's right. So, like, a lot of this stuff was trending as well. A lot of it. You can see all these pictures here making mockery of the Superman trailer. Joe says, I don't know. When this comes out, I bet it's going to do 1 million. This was the Suicide Squad. So, as usual at DC, there's a lot of hype. They try to hype up a lot of things. And the truth be told is it doesn't get butts into the seats. Okay. The last successful movie that was had, it's not a DC movie, it was Barbie. And it was because Barbie was coupled to Oppenheimer. For me personally, I didn't think Barbie was a good movie at all. I think it was shit. But because it was the first Barbie movie, it got a pass. Just like Aquaman got a pass. Aquaman didn't deserve to make $1 billion, but it got a pass. Jason Momoa supporting the Snyderverse, so we didn't have any adverse people against Jason Momoa. And on top of that, James Wan has a huge Asian presence. Lots of people love James Wan. It's an action movie, so that's what that movie got sold on. It was a shit movie, and a lot of people will say that. They'll tell you that. Um, so there's a lot of Snyderverse stuff. All of this. This is really cool as well. This is Batman. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right. So there's some people making fun of the movie, talking about Superman's dad reminds them of Harvey Weinstein. I thought it reminded me of Josh Whedon. You guys can go check that out. See how much he looks like Josh Whedon there. Um, Here's talking about paid to play. Somebody said that Snyder fans are being paid to play when it's really them. They're projecting. They're the ones being paid by Warner Brothers Studios to make those comments. It's really funny. Right. Yep. So I haven't seen anything new with the Superman trailer. That's why I haven't really commented too much on it. It seems like, any other DC CW trailer that we've seen, or Disney or Marvel trailer, it's nothing special to me. People say, well, Superman was saving a little girl from some exploding like tanks or whatever was flying out there. And I'm like, okay, so first of all, that seems very unrealistic. And second of all, he's like tucking her head down like he wants to fuck her or something. I thought it was kind of weird that her head was pressed all the way down and he's kind of like basically like he's fucking her, which is like disgusting. It's like a pedo thing, which makes me think that James Gunn is like that's his aspiration. Why Superman do that to the little kid? When Batman was saving the little girl from the falling building, he just knocked her out the way, right? That's what he did. In this case, Superman comes and he's like I don't know what the fuck he's doing, and I don't know, man. It's just this stuff here again just looks. Again, it seems as though Superman's fighting. I don't waste too much time on my video on that because, like I said before, it's just bad. It is what it is. So Henry Cavill reminds me of Superman. The other guy reminds me of a guy playing cosplay, and he's cosplaying Superman. That's. Uh, this is just a little video here. A lot of people just talking about Superman, and you see people talking about the cosplay and all of that. The general consensus, to be honest with you, is that, and it's already faded off, is that, you sacked Henry for this? This is your Superman movie? Like, people don't even need to boycott. People just naturally not going to go watch the shit because it's just like, I mean, why are we wasting our time? So you see, most of the stuff is Snyderverse stuff. Okay, cool. Let's move to Free Palestine and so on. I told you the empire is falling. The Western Empire is falling. This is without a doubt what's happening. And I'm going to. Now he says the state of Israel is illegitimate, but he's going to talk about the apartheid and the Jewish supremacy. I'm going to say this so that I don't even waste my time. The state of Israel is illegitimate for the following reasons. One, land theft. They killed out the people or chased them out the land with no rights to return. Even if you conquer a place, people should have a right to return to their lands. They displaced those people and then they pulled people from all over the world to go live there. Now, not only the state was founded on terrorists, so the people who were terrorists, there were 3 terrorist groups, one responsible for the King David bombing, and they would continue to terrorize the Palestinians in the area. So they were formed on terrorism. Okay. They were formed on them moving in and taking other people's land and their properties and stuff like that. So, and they're doing it to this day, of course, in the West Bank, in Gaza. They're doing it in southern Lebanon and also in the Golan Heights in Syria and even beyond that now. So it's clear to all of us that this place is illegitimate. The state of Israel is built on stealing and possessing other people's stuff. And what's weird is they have 10 commandments, and in the 10 commandments they say you shouldn't covet what's your neighbor's. You shouldn't covet your neighbor's wife, his stuff. And they're not following that. Now, so that's what makes Israel illegitimate as a state. They are a terrorist state in that respect. Now, the people living in Israel, not all of them share this view that the Israelis have. And not all of them support the government. And the same for Jews all over the world. And it's just almost, it's so obvious, it's not funny. So, why do Zionists need to live in Palestine? Why they can't go back and live in Europe? That's the Ashkenazi ones, yes. There's so much information out there now about these people. They just killed a guy who was helping to feed people. So the IDF or the IOF, or whatever you want to call it, have been targeting civilians for the longest while. People who have been inspirational to Palestinians have been killing them and their families. They've been killing families and people who have been reporting as journalists. They have been killing medical people who could be helped to restore people. Anybody feeding the Palestinian people, encouraging them, restoring them, giving them hope, writing poems, lectures, people who are professional people who are nonviolent and just looking to inspire people or inform the world what's going on in Palestine. They have been targeting and killing. These are not military people. These are not Hamas. Now, if you were wiping out people from Hamas, that's fine because combatants, it's war. But when you start targeting civilians and taking them out, that's terrorism. And that's clearly what they're doing. And the whole world's seeing that and they're realizing, oh, these people, they're not up to any. And so Israel's status in the world now is primary villain number one. They're going to always cite October 7th as the start of things, which is a lie. The kind of atrocities they've been doing in Palestine, the way how they have people in prison camps and stuff is equivalent to Nazi Germany. They've been doing our Judeo-Nazi sort of things. And they're going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it because now the West, see, the West was held up by propaganda. We bought into the propaganda. We believed the propaganda. And now the veil has been just ripped off of our face. And we see beachfront properties. They've been stealing the Gazan people's oil. America's stealing Syria's oil and guarding it. We're beginning to realize how much of a pariah the Western Europe as well as Israel and America have been. They've been pariahs for a long time. They've been benefiting off the backs of the resources of countries where they've caused so discord and war. And they've been very wicked and evil with that. They're not trying to engage in terms, they've been breaking treaties with people and so on. So for the first time, I started seeing Russia and China differently. For the first time in my life, I saw North Korea and Kim Jong-un differently. For the first time in my life, I was able to see that the Palestinians, the PLO, the resistance in the Middle East, I started seeing them all differently. I used to think of Israel as the ones under attack and the ones who had enemies all around, and they tried to make peace. That's not the case. That's a myth. That's a lie. You know, they've been the ones sowing discord. They've been the ones causing all the trouble. They've been the ones who try to bring unrest to countries. And I used to think that America was a country with a policy to spread democracy to the world. That's a lie. They have squashed democracies. They have stifled democracies worldwide. They have their military and their intelligence all around the world to try to destabilize countries. And what is America's interest? America's interest is not the people's interest of America. No, they don't give a fuck about you. When they say American interest, they're talking about multi-corporations and big business. That the hands of few people can make more money and dominate the Monopoly board. You know the game Monopoly? That's what this is all about. Monopoly. Okay? So we're learning the truth of the matter. Now, what are we going to do about it? Well, these hypocrites have formed laws, international and otherwise, localized laws in different countries, but they don't keep their laws. The very laws that they make, they don't keep. And recently, a congressman highlighted the laws that they don't keep. The Leahy law, they don't keep it. The law that says if you stop American relief, humanitarian relief in any place, whether you're an ally or not, America is not supposed to send arms, not supposed to do business with countries that block humanitarian aid, American humanitarian. And they're going against that with Israel. And they're still supporting Israel. So they're violating their own laws, and therefore they can be held in the court of law. The companies who are violating these laws can be held in the court of law. See, some people, I saw something about some Palestinian people bringing the American government to court. That's cool, but it's better if you go state by state in a localized manner, and you file injunctions and you file court orders to sue the companies who are actually shipping these weapons. See, that's the more important thing, because you have to look at what are the corporations, what are the companies that are shipping these weapons to Israel, that are supplying these weapons to Israel. Where are they? Where are the weapons? Can we freeze these companies' accounts due to the Leahy law, due to the law that says that Israel has violated the transferment of humanitarian aid? Those are two laws that are in your side, federal laws, and you can enact them at the state level and at the local level. You can also, because these laws back you, you can take action to slow down the process of these things being transported, of vandalizing, of striking and deciding I'm not working here. This is in breach of the Leahy law, it's in breach of that. I'm going to strike. All of these things are very important to happen on the ground. Marching and doing protests are cool, but they're ineffective in terms of action. You have to take action. You have to take literal action, physical action, legal action. Okay? America is in breach of laws. You have to enforce those laws. You have to bring lawsuits to the American businesses, big lawsuits. You have to bring big lawsuits against the American government, yes, the federal government, but first you try to go against businesses and stuff like that. You have to have your facts in a row too. So that's what you should be doing. In terms of the UK, the same thing. You shouldn't be pleading with people to repeal certain laws. They're not going to listen. You have to bring teeth. You have to have teeth. Have a bite. And that's true of the law. The law is on your side. So that's what you need to do. Enact the law. These people made laws. They don't keep their laws. So now you have to enforce their laws. And you can do it through several different means, but this is one of them. Okay, and this is really a great thing by Jamie Ain't It. You can check out his tweet. It was done 2 days ago with a guy who is telling him that Zack Snyder didn't change Batman and Superman. He just changed the world in which Batman and Superman exist. And that's true. Zack Snyder did something very novel, as well as Chris Terrio, as well as Christopher Nolan, in that Superman and Batman are the same. They have the same values, whatever. The thing was the world in which they existed changed. It was more realistic. It was more our world. And that's fundamentally a very important thing, because in our world, everything has a consequence. Everything is political, etc., etc., etc. So I think that's where, it's very authentic. Versus James Gunn, he's going to try to kind of duplicate that, but he's going to have some sort of fantasy Hollywood world. And he's trying to say, that this Superman movie is going to reflect how our world is today. He's trying to pull a Zack Snyder, but he He's just bullshitting. Like he doesn't have anything really serious. You know, you can't believe a word that comes out of James Gunn's mouth anyway. So that's what it is. All right, people. So that's basically it. There's a lot more to say in terms of details. I'm not really into the detail person. I'm just discussing things right now. We're seeing the world waking up somewhat to what's happening in Palestine. Every single day, people are getting bombed, killed, shot, sniped. It's just overwhelmingly terrible. But we have to take action. It's about taking action. And I've suggested a number of different forms of action. No bullets, no munitions, no tanks. The economy also, you're targeting through the BDS movement. We target the economies of these countries. Um, this is how you get them to stop fighting. They're going to stop fighting when it's no longer feasible to do so because they don't have the money or funds to purchase weaponry. Okay, that's what Israel thrives off of, the weaponry. And mostly their bombing campaigns and their droid campaigns. That's it. Drone, not droid, drone. Drone campaigns and bombing campaigns. That's what they do. They're not good at military army campaigns and stuff like that. So, of course, America, France, England, and Germany all support what is going on, and they actually have expertise and people in there. Some parts of NATO also are supporting this, just as what's happening in the Ukrainian war with Russia. And Ukraine is again in its death throes and is throwing desperate attempts to try and get at Russia. It's the same thing with Israel. They're in the death throes. Their economy is shit right now. And Netanyahu is just fucking up that country in a horrible way. They have no democracy. Their military is extended way beyond what it should be. And because of the assistance of the United States and some of the Arab states around them, they've been able to kind of toe the line with that. But they're about to collapse. The system that they have is about to collapse on them. They're trying to get more real estate and stuff like that in Syria, but they've been found out. You see, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So that empire is going to fall, and as well as the Western Empire, as well as the European empires. They're all going to fall. They all based it. Their empires got fat off of the backs of other people, whether it's America with the slaves and the genocide of the American Indians, whether it is the Europeans off of the resources from the rich continent of Africa, you know, it's the Israelis from the rich was amassed off of the back stuff that is not theirs and forming laws to legalize stealing. So they're going to get what's coming to them. I'm not going to be sad in any way. Here is the Israeli ambassador to the UK, and she's saying Palestinians do not deserve a state of their own, which is some bullshit in a tremendous way. Meaning, first of all, you're an occupier. Second of all, who are you to tell Palestinians what they should do or shouldn't do? That's up to them. That's why it's called self-determination. So it's in complete violation of international law, what you just said, which just all goes to show us how disgusting these people are. They're disgusting. They're the scum of the earth. The people in government, most of them. So they're going to get what's handed to them because, you know, causality and karma's a bitch, and it's coming for them. So yeah, that's what I got for you guys. I am Christ, I am Disciple. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can like, share, subscribe. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.